In case you have been living under a rock over the past 6 months, the Mariners have seen a lot of turnover. Robinson Cano and Edwin Diaz are in Queens, James Paxton is in the Bronx, Segura is in Philly and Mike Zunino is in Tampa Bay. The M's have decided to tear it up and go younger with players like Mallex and Omar Narvaez in the bigs and guys such as JP Crawford and Justus Sheffield, along with many others, waiting in the wings. You would think that would mean Vogelbach, finally out of the shadow of Nelson Cruz, would be receiving his fair share of playing time. Not so fast. Over the first few games of the season, Vogelbach has just 4 at-bats with 7 plate appearances. In those trips, Vogie is 0-4 with 3 strikeouts, an HBP, 2 walks and a run. That seems a bit odd when Scott Survey and Jerry Dipoto stated that Vogie was finally going to get a chance to prove what he can do at the major league level. And what better year to do that than a year where there are no expectations? The biggest problem is the glut of first base, DH-type players on the roster. With the injury to Kyle Seager, things get a bit easier because Ryan Healy will see most of his time at 3B. That leaves Vogie in competition with 33-year-old Jay Bruce and 36-year-old Edwin Encarnacion. Guys on the wrong side of 30 aren't usually the guys you give abs to in the midst of a rebuild. Vogelbach is just 26 with a mere 131 at-bats in the big leagues. So why is this the case? Well, first of all, it's hard to imagine that the Mariners expected to enter the season with both Bruce and Encarnacion still in a Mariners uniform. When the trade for Encarnacion went down, rumors were swirling that he would be flipped to the Rays immediately after. Whether there was any substance to this is yet to be seen. There were only a few teams that made sense for either player to be traded to besides the Rays, and obviously none of that ever came to fruition. I understand the importance of getting both Bruce and Encarnacion opportunities to increase their trade value prior to the trade deadline, but that does not mean, in any capacity, that Vogie shouldn't be getting a couple starts a week. He will never be able to show anything only receiving 4 abs a week. Give Bruce a day off and start Vogie at first. Maybe Santana could use a day, put Bruce in left and Vogie at first or DH. It's actually pretty simple. The only start that Vogie received was when Mallex took a day off, shifting Haniger to center and Bruce to the IV. In fact, it would probably be better to give one of Bruce or Encarnacion a few days off their feet to keep them fresh, especially with Bruce coming off of an injury-plagued 2018 season. Obviously, I have been pretty vocal in my support of Daniel Vogelbach over the past few years, but it is ridiculous just how little opportunity he has received at the big league level. There have been plenty of fans saying that Vogie hasn't shown enough at the plate to warrant any more opportunities, but as pointed out on the Soto Mojo Twitter Monday night, that's not a good excuse. Stated in the tweet, in his first 135 plate appearances, Mike Trout hit .220, .281, .390. Vogie has hit .191, .307, .305 in his first 153 plate appearances. Now, before you have a heart attack about us comparing the two, we are in no way saying that Daniel Vogelbach can be the next Mike Trout. We are simply saying that you can't say that Vogie won't find success in the majors just because he hasn't yet. Just imagine if the Angels thought that way about Trout and never let him play or released him, just like the Mariners fans are advising the team to do with Vogie. To add on to that point, Trout received all 135 plate appearances in one season and received consistent playing time, whereas Vogie's 153 plate appearances have been spread out over the span of 4 seasons and haven't seen an ounce of consistent playing time. It is impossible to ever find your groove when you only face live pitching once or twice a week. Vogelbach has been set up to fail since day one to no fault of his own. The fact that Encarnacion is still on the roster was a massive oversight by GM Jerry Dipoto, who had to assume that he could trade him before the start of the season. Is Daniel Vogelbach the first baseman of the future? probably not with Evan White waiting in the wings. However, Vogie could easily be the DH of the future. Once Nelson Cruz left, the spot was open until another old but still productive player took his place. Now, it's not like you can't put Vogie at first because you're worried about his defense. He is no worse than Jay Bruce or Edwin Encarnacion over there, and the team seems set on making at least 2 errors a night, so who really cares? With Vogelbach's elite eye, he could easily lead the team in odd BP. He has done exactly what the front office asked when they implemented the control the zone movement, and yet has nothing to show for it. His power plays at the big league level, just ask the Hit It Here cafe sign. He does carry some swing and miss in his game, but who doesn't these days? All in all, there is no reason to not be giving Daniel Cornelius Vogelbach at-bats. He just keeps getting blocked. In Chicago, Anthony Rizzo was in the way at first. In Seattle, Nelson Cruz, Ryan Healy, Jay Bruce, and Encarnacion have proved to be roadblocks as well. Things can change in an instant. Somebody could get injured and the opportunity may finally arise for Vogie, but that's not how he should have to get abs. He should be getting them even with Bruce finally swinging the bat and helping lead the Mariners to a 6-1 start. If that doesn't happen, it would seem Vogie's only hope is that one of Encarnacion or Bruce gets traded, and at the current juncture, there aren't really any teams that need them. What about when Segura comes back? What happens to Vogie then? There are just too many question marks that don't need to be problems. This is the biggest year of Daniel Vogelbach's career, and he is being shoved to the side. He could be one of the cogs in the future of Seattle baseball, but instead the at-bats are going to guys that will be gone within a year. It's frustrating to watch, and it has to be frustrating to Vogie. Next, Kimbrel. Mariners marriage doesn't make sense for either side. If you aren't going to use him, trade him so he gets a chance before you ruin what could have otherwise been a productive career. Something has to change, and quick. For the sake of the future of the Seattle Mariners, free Vogie.